little behind today, but we had some good chat this morning. And I'm always happy to have some good chatter as we go on. But today is March 17th, 2020. Want to welcome everybody to Rotary. Here we go. Back to sharing here. Today, as I said, is March 17th, 2021. Today's guest speaker is Sarah Marbes to discuss Women's History Month. Thank you, Carl Flowers, for being our greeter today. I think you did a great job welcoming everybody. And we're going to ask Cindy Byes while we're right here before we get into a reflection and everything else to lead us in a toast to celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
All right, everyone, if you have a favorite beverage next to you, you should pick up your favorite beverage and then repeat after me, sláinte.
Sláinte.
That means to your health in Irish.
Great.
Right.
We're good. Thank you, Cindy. It's time to have the Pledge of Allegiance. Jerry Malumbi, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I'd be glad to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jerry. Now it's time for our moment of reflection, and our moment of reflection today is brought to us by Rotarian Shane Hermits.
I bring to the floor a quote from Justice Ruth Ginsburg, the fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. And I say those words in honor of Women's History Month.
Thank you, Shane. Now it's time for our song time for the week. Today we're going to have, in celebration of roughly a year of being in quarantine, the Phoenix Chamber Choir. This is a find from Shane, as always. If somebody has a song that they'd like to share with everybody, please let me know, and I'll be happy to include it in our weekly song time. Here we go.
Stopping spread of COVID-19. For the longest time, exercise my jogging around my room. Online meetings taking place on Zoom. Try to teach their kids online. Somehow this needs twice as much prep time. How we help our nation for the longest time. Circumstances are for the
Thank you so much for that, Shane. I'm going to stop it a little early just because I don't want to get fined by Gail for going too long for song time today. But we'll go back to the slideshow. That was a good one. Thank you, Shane. All right. So that link is going to be in the wrap up email. So if anybody wants to watch the rest of that, please feel free. All right. It's time for introduction of guests. Jerry Malumbi, would you please introduce our guest today?
It is our pleasure to have guests with us. And this week we have our regular standby, our Beck from the Sunset Club. And we have Bryn from, I think he is a guest of, well, he's a guest of Miss Miller. So
She, yes. Bryn is one of our junior dental hygiene students or third year dental hygiene students. So she will be a big time senior in the fall, ready to get out of here.
I'm definitely ready.
well, a hearty Rotary welcome to you, and hope you come back and see us again.
All right. And now it's time for our club announcements. Shane, would you please lead us in some 100 Little Things updates here?
Sure, I'd love to. I think one of the projects that got mentioned a week or two back was from Miss Cindy Bai. So if you're planning on planting any flowers this spring, let Cindy know and we can count them toward one of our projects. I think I'm ready to see some flowers. I'm tired of cold weather. I understand why Gil goes to Florida every year now. So if he could send some of that weather this way, I'd greatly appreciate it. Springtime, the Carbondale will have their annual tree sale here the first week of April. If you're going to plant some trees, let us know. We can do the trees again. We're hanging in at 61 projects, but there's a lot of good projects that are underway. So if you can think of any other projects that you want to do, speak up, and we've got plenty of time to get them done. So let's get out there and do some good in our community.
I also got a message. I've got some folks who have purchased flashlights. We don't have a champion for that project right now. So I know that was one of the ideas we had was 100 flashlights, and we've already got some that are being collected. So we do need a champion for that project and a destination to donate them, whether that's we could donate them to the warming center. Another thought, we've got kids all around. There's some different projects that are coming up. The Murfreesboro is doing another bag giveaway from the library for kids, so that might be another opportunity to donate some small flashlights to kids who might need them for emergency preparedness. So if you've got a project you're thinking of, like we said, let Shane or myself know and we'll get it on the list.
Hey, Rick, this is Cindy speaking. There was actually a program on TV recently about a police officer in Michigan who was giving flashlights to homeless people, because as the warming center may close soon and people may be moving back outdoors, some of them will be living in tents. And so that might be an appropriate donation site or, connection with Good Sam and the warming center for folks who may not be living indoors once the weather warms up.
I think that is a great idea. If everybody's good with that, we'll donate those directly over to the warming center when we get them. We'll kind of include that in our material support project and make sure we get those people. They've got over 40 participants right now at the warming center, so that's a great place to kick them off, and then we can work with Good Sam on the rest of those. Thank you. Active service projects, as we've continued on here, the Carbondale Warming Center material support. So flashlights can be one of those, but they're always in need of the disposable items. Gail White, do you have any updates on the material support?
No, I don't have anything new.
Okay. As Linda Flowers alluded to earlier today, they are over at the warming center today. This is a picture of Carmelita getting her vaccine shot. So the National Guard mobile unit is over there today. And also there today is our friend Patty Stokes with Heartland Catering. Today's menu at the Warming Center, whoops, clicked a button, is in celebration of St. Patrick's Day. They're having corned beef and cabbage, carrots, potatoes, and dessert is a green Jello salad. So thank you all for continuing to support Heartland Catering and the Warming Center with your continued contributions. Our foundation donation challenge matching club donation of up to $100. Pam for March. Thank you, Pam, for continuing this program on. And we're up through June of 2021 with Faith Miller contributing her matching donation in June. So thank you all so much for your support.
Hey, Rick,
Yes, Jerry.
I would like to say that I will donate for July. That will be the first year is in my presidency. And so now I challenge 11 other people to step up for the rest of the year.
Thank you, Jerry. That's fantastic. Club duties, helping out week to week. And actually, you know what? I think I can say this. My birthday is in August, and I will do the matching donation for August. So finishing up the year of my presidency, or just after the finish of my presidency, I'll jump in and do that for August. So thank you, Jerry. Speaking of all doing our part, our club duties week to week, we've got our doodle polls. Shane put them into the chat earlier. Thank you to Jerry and Shane and Carl so far for helping out with duties this week. It's our virtual clipboard. So please go ahead. If you know you're going to be here next week or the following week, go ahead and sign up through that doodle poll to help us out. Satellite Club update, Shane, or actually Brooke's on the call. Brooke, our the chair of the Satellite Club. Would you please give us an update on the Satellite Club?
Sure. Yeah, I think we've met about 3 times. We just adopted our bylaws yesterday and we had our first guest speaker. I think we have a new, pretty good potential of a new member. And Jackson County Health Department and SIH is going to be speaking with us. I think it's April 2nd is our next meeting. That's it. Unless Shane has something to add that I've missed.
Nope, I think the other thing is the Satellite Club is probably going to do a district grant project on their own. They're going to do a school supply backpack project with Carruthers School. So we'll be submitting that when it's probably about April when it's time to submit for district grants. So they're gonna try to do their own grant, raise their own money, and we wish them well.
Thank you so much for everything you're doing there. Now it's time for some district news. I'm going to pass it back over to Shane to give us some updates on district news.
In the district right now, it's the training time of year for President-elect Training Seminar. That's what PET stands for. I have to admit that the song that we saw today from Billy Joel, I did lift that from the pre-PETS training, so I have to give credit to Terry Mathias and those assistants from the Sunset Club that helped run that pre-PETS meeting. That video came from them. I can't take credit for finding that on the internet. They found it. The schedule for PETS training is on the screen. The assistant governor training was last night, and then the official opening to the president-elect training is this Thursday. And instead of it being in person, it is broke up into multiple days, a couple hours scattered across the next 2 weeks. So if you're in the leadership circle, you should get signed up. If you need help getting signed up for training, just let Rick or I know, and we'll get you signed up. One thing for Jerry to think about as our incoming president, the district governor will be wanting to schedule a visit. So our very own Terry Mathias from here in Carbondale will need a visit. So Jerry, you need to think about if you want to do it in a Zoom session. Terry's open to doing a service project. If we're going to be out doing a service project in the community, he'll join us. So just start thinking about how you want the district governor to visit our club. From the district, that's about it for now.
Thank you, Shane. Rotary International news. 2021 theme is serve to change lives. So we've got our new updated official cause of protecting the environment, and our 2021 theme is Serve to Change Lives. A reminder that March is Water and Sanitation Month from Rotary International. Countdown to history is on. As of March 10th, Afghanistan has 54 cases of polio. Pakistan has 49 active cases. And shown in red on the map are wild polio type 1. So we are getting so close to eradication of polio. We'll continue to support the Polio Plus Fund. Thank you all for your efforts on that. Now it is time for some of your good news. Who's got some good news to share?
I'll go first, Rick. My son got his first career job interview. He's going to be interviewing for an engineering job up in Shelbyville, Illinois next week. So maybe one of our children will fly the nest and start their life. So that's always good news. He's 22 and he's ready to move on. So wish him luck.
Good for him. I've got good news, like many of you probably, I got a wonderful New Yorker next door, New York lady who loves to cook. And my wife and I are going over this afternoon or evening for corned beef and cabbage, potatoes, cabbage, and we'll wash it all down with Irish whiskey. So.
Now, Gil, what's the difference in Irish whiskey and regular whiskey?
Well, they're both good.
I have some good news and some moderately bad news, perhaps. But the best news is that my Scholar Bowl team last Monday, and I forgot to mention this last week for some reason, but last Monday won their 20th consecutive regional championship. In the 20 years I've been coaching, that was the 20th regional championship. So I was very happy about that. I told them I'd have to follow my sword if they lost one at this point. So I'm still here. We did not win the sectional, not surprisingly, but we were seeded 5th in the section and placed 2nd in the sectional. The only team that beat us was the #1 seed. So I was not unhappy about that. The other news is that starting on Tuesday next week, I'm going to be back working full time again at Carruthers School, by the way, doing a maternity leave position. And I'm really excited about that. The downside of that is I don't know it'll be able to make our Rotary meetings till June, but we'll see. It may depend. I'm going to take my Chromebook, and it may be possible that her lunch break is around this time and I can at least stop by. But I'm looking forward to it. I've been in the classroom. It's 4th grade special ed, and they're darling kids, and I'm really looking forward to that. So.
All right. Any other good news to share for the day? All right. Hearing none. Sergeant at Arms, Gail, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, I can't see everybody's picture real clearly, but in honor of Will Travelstead, he would assess a fine to anyone who failed to wear something green today in recognition of St. Patrick's Day. Shane, I'll give you a pass because you found such a good song for us.
Thank you, Gail. Now it's time for our guest speaker. Our guest speaker today is Sarah Marbes. She's here to discuss Women's History Month. So I'm gonna stop my share here and give her the ability to.
Hi all, how are you?
Doing well, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm just waiting for my ability to share. Here it is. Great, so thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to talk to you about Women's History Month, which we're about halfway through at this point. I'm Sarah Marbes, as was stated. I coordinate the Women's Resource Center at SIU, as well as the Center for Service Learning and Volunteerism. So I'm wearing 2 hats this year, which has been a little bit crazy, especially this month, but it's been really amazing. I'm part of the Student Multicultural Resource Center, and I also report to the Dean of Students. My background is in nonprofit fundraising as well as volunteer management. So what we're going to chat about today is what is Women's History Month? Why do we have it? We're going to talk about some women's history as a group. I'd like to hear some of the people you admire from history. And then I'll tell you a little bit about the SIU programs that are still to come. Okay. So for context, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background. Women's History Month started as a week. It was a local thing in California that started in 1978, and it grew and grew for a few years until in 1987, Congress designated March as Women's History Month, and now it is declared by presidential proclamation every year. Last year, the theme was Valiant Women of the Vote, Refusing to be Silenced. And as you recall, March was crazy. A lot of events got canceled last year. So they carried that over this year so that we could still celebrate 100 years of women's suffrage and maybe do some of those programs that got canceled last year. So we did hang on to that theme of refusing to be silenced. A range of museums and government agencies work together to provide structure for the month so that places like SIU and other schools and organizations across the country can plan programs. Some of these people that or organizations that make this framework are the Library of Congress, the National Archives, the Park Service, and the Smithsonian Institution. So why do we celebrate Women's History Month? Why does it have its own special time? There's a few reasons. One of them is to highlight overlooked contributions by women in history. Another is to celebrate role models, innovators, trailblazers. It's really helpful when we talk about women's history to help people imagine the possibilities of what women can achieve, to know that people like them have done what they want to do or have blazed the trail and they can follow that path now. And it also is to illuminate oppression and patriarchy and to consider how we can further uplift women and non-binary people. So if we look backwards, we can see how far we've come, but we can also see the work that we have to do ahead. So I was hoping we could have a little bit of a discussion, and I'd love to know if a few folks would want to share who's a woman from history that you admire and tell us a little bit about them.
I'll go. I just, as a child, I was an avid reader, and I still am, but there was a section of the library that had biographies, and I would go there and pick the biographies of famous women, and they had a huge impact on me. I remember reading about Elizabeth Blackwell, first women doctor, and Clara Barton, and Florence Nightingale, and people like that. And so I think it impressed upon me even then the need to make a special effort to recognize women, because those were the types of things that weren't necessarily in our history textbooks that we were learning.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'd love to hear from other folks. Who do you admire?
Well, Sarah knows that we did a program last week on Eleanor Roosevelt, and she's someone that I admire, particularly for her work on the UN Declaration on Human Rights.
Awesome.
There, I'd like to mention Mary McLeod Bethune, who was a woman who was a good friend with Eleanor Roosevelt, but an African-American woman who had come from almost no means and achieved developing a school for girls at first, which later turned into a college and then a university. And she was said to have been advisor to 5 US presidents in her lifetime. So Mary McLeod Bethune.
Thank you.
Well, she isn't historical, but a few months ago, a role model in my life passed away, Gail Mitchell. She was taught a special English class that some of us were chosen to be in Vienna High School. And she was really the first strong, independent woman I had ever known. She stood about 6 feet tall, had a pixie haircut, and changed the color of it every single week. This was in the 60s, so this was quite unusual. Her teaching methods were so creative, and I think it affected me as a teacher in the future. And she kind of stood up to authority, and she wasn't afraid to demonstrate that when the authority was not leading the school maybe in the right moral direction, I felt like. And so I'm appreciative of those strong women who made an impact on me as a child and teenager.
Thank you for sharing that. And thanks for this note, Faith.
May I mention another one while we're waiting?
Yeah.
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. Most of us became familiar with her name when the high school in Florida that was in her name came into the forefront because of the killing of students there. But anyway, as I researched her and learned that she was almost single-handedly responsible for the Everglades in Florida staying in existence, coming in and staying in existence. And she still lived alone at 108 years old when she died a couple of years ago. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas.
Thank you. I didn't know about her either. I'll have to look that up. Good point, Cindy. Who are, for some of the men on this call, who are women in history you admire?
The current history is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's the person who really, every time I heard her spoke, I just had to stop and listen.
Definitely. Does anyone else want to go before I move on? I'm just going to spotlight really briefly 3 women who I always try to make sure students know about. One of them is Ida B. Wells Barnett, who was an awesome journalist and civil rights activist before, really, like in the late 1800s, when she was shining a light on what was going on with lynchings, and she was driven out of Memphis. And she started a lot of civic organizations. Like, she was a real change maker, and she wouldn't be intimidated. And so I always send her bio out to students, as well as Jane Addams. You can see there's maybe like a theme where I always do Illinois connections. Jane Addams, as an educator, I just am so inspired by her. And she was, when we talk about phases of education, she was a progressive. But I really think she was a radical before there were radicals, because, she empowered immigrants who lived in or near Hull House to teach classes. And so she didn't see them as not having value. She saw that they had knowledge that they could share with each other, that they could be empowered to educate each other. And I really try to bring that into my practice as an educator, and also share that with students. And then one they usually don't know about is Dr. Oldham Kelsey. Do you guys know who that is? She was, okay, I have to look up how to pronounce this medicine. Dr. Frances Oldham Kelsey worked for the FDA in the 60s, and she's not from, I think she's from Canada, but she lived in Chicago and then Washington, D.C. And she was in charge of approving medicines when thalidomide, I might not be saying that right, was a big successful drug in Europe and Australia and other countries across the world. And it was being used to treat morning sickness. And this drug company was just sending her like, get to approve this. And she was like, these studies are not good. They're not up to par, like, send me more information. She wasn't saying no, but she was just saying these studies aren't good enough. Do more research, send it over. And they were really pressuring her. They were bad mouthing her to people at the FDA. They were making so much money in Europe. And it came to light pretty quickly within a few years that the babies were being born with birth defects if their parents or if their mom had taken that for morning sickness. And so I always like to tell students about her, because a lot of our students aren't going to go into like community leadership kind of roles or government, but I wanted to show them that whatever your job is, you can always stand up for what's right. You might always be put under pressure to take a shortcut or, not go about things the way that you're supposed to, but you can have courage and you can do the right thing, and it can make a really big difference in people's lives. So those are 3 people I always try to make sure students know about. I'll go back to sharing. So we're already halfway done with Women's History Month, but I'll still tell you about a few things that are coming up, and a few really cool things that happened. As Cindy mentioned, there was a great documentary and panel about Eleanor Roosevelt. We had some in-person events. There was a fitness thing for students. They have a Black Women's Brunch tomorrow. Tomorrow we have an alum coming. So if you are interested in hearing from Afia Owusu, she's a broadcaster. Tomorrow evening, she's going to have a community discussion with WSIU. And I'll put this link in the chat after I'm done talking, so you guys can go to this calendar online. There's going to be a really cool event, Politics in Pink, which maybe, Faith, do you want to plug this instead of me plugging it? Because I think you sent it to me.
Oh, well, and I can share with anybody the flyers on that, but the women represented all are members of Alpha Kappa Alpha, and in some way, shape, or form serve in some type of a role in politics, whether high level or grassroots level. And rumor has it that the lieutenant governor will also be popping in for a bit. So it should be, and promises to be, a very good program. It will be, you can register for it at the Carbondale Public Library webpage, and it will also be shown on their Facebook page live.
Cool. Yeah, that looks really cool. And then some of my events I think are at your meeting time. So I might not plug the Dr. Isabel Cobb or the What's Her Name podcasters. But I will also say there is an SIU conference on women on March 26th. You can get tickets now. They are, I think, $10 for community members, and you can, send an email or fill out a form for a scholarship if that's prohibitive for you. But there's going to be some really great presentations. Some are on research. There's someone going to perform an excerpt from her play and then talk about playwriting. Professor Cindy Bies is going to be talking about negotiating regarding salaries, which is, I'm really excited to learn from her. Chancellor Lane is going to talk about leadership at SIU and how his plans for uplifting women at SIU, which is really exciting. And also, if you know anyone who would want to attend, we also have things that are geared more towards undergraduates and high school students. So if you know someone who could come, and there's programs about time management, about like kind of an introductory to understanding what misogyny is, developing your brand and identity. So if it's not for you, see if some of those other sessions might be relevant to other people in your life. And those tickets are available now. And I'll send the link in the chat. So it's been a really cool month. We've really had a variety of historical things, as well as things that are going to help students develop themselves on their own paths to achieving great things. So it's been really good, and I'm hoping to finish out strong in the next 2 weeks. I wanted to just pull out an excerpt from this year's presidential proclamation for Women's History Month, because I thought it was just so nicely put and really encouraging to us. During Women's History Month, let us honor the accomplished and visionary women who have helped build our country, including those whose contributions have not been adequately recognized and celebrated. Let us pay tribute to the trailblazers from the recent and distant past for daring to envision a future for which no past precedent existed, and for building a nation of endless possibilities for all of its women and girls. And that's So that's my presentation. I hope it was interesting, enlightening, and I really liked hearing about the women that you look up to.
question for you, Sarah. Is the women's conference coming up? Is that going to be face-to-face or I'm assuming on Zoom or?
Yes, thank you for asking. I'm glad you asked that. It is going to be totally virtual.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, any other questions?
And are you encouraging everyone to attend, the men as well, and the opportunities to actually learn some things, basically?
Absolutely. Men can definitely come. Anyone who's interested in the programs can come. I'm about to send you this website, and you can look at the programming, and if topics are interesting, come on and join us.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for asking.
It's right in the middle of a class I teach on Fridays, which would have been perfect content, but we've already have something scheduled, and I didn't know if the students would have to pay the $10 fee. That might be a little steep for some of them.
Yeah, for students, it's $5, and there is a form they can fill out to get a scholarship. I know my office has funded some scholarships, and I believe right now, technically the deadline passed, but we did not get as many requests for scholarships as scholarship donations. So I think if someone wants to come and they just fill out that form late, I think we'll be able to accommodate that.
Okay.
So I put the calendar in the chat, and now I'm putting the conference link in the chat.
Do we have any more questions for Sarah? I don't hear any. I thought that was a great presentation. Thank you for sharing everything that SIU is doing to promote Women's History Month and to share to be able to share with the new generation of people. I'm going to be taking this. I'm an assistant scoutmaster with a troop of girls here in Carbondale, and some of these things are very very educational, and I think it's important to share with, as a man, my daughters, to let them know, what women have done so that she can be in the position that she's in, that they can be in the positions they're in today and have the opportunities that they do. So thank you so much.
Thanks y'all so much for your attention and your contributions to the conversation.
Okay, we'll go back to sharing the presentation here. It's happening next week. Orbeck and his team with AES Solar will be with us next week to discuss the status of solar in Southern Illinois. And we have Linda Schuyler with the 2020 Census and Illinois Public Health Association. And then we are up all the way through April 28th already. We've got our schedule here, so check it out. And we, as always, guests are welcome. So please feel free to bring your friends, and hope to see you all there. Now it's time for the four-way test. Carl Flowers, would you please lead us in the four-way test?
Absolutely. Would you please join me in the four-way test of what we think, say, and do? First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And 4th, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. As a reminder, tonight is the board meeting. For those of you that are on the Rotary board, tonight is our board meeting at 5 p.m. So we did move that from last night to tonight due to some conflicts. So please plan to join us tonight. If you need that link again, I will gladly send it. I hope to see all of you there, and hopefully we can get back to meeting in person at noon here soon. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Right. Thank you. Good meeting.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.